Hi, I'm Austin. Welcome to Beats Motel. Once you check in, you never really check out. Let me just say up front, this is my fifth take, fifth time trying to do this video. I plan on uploading a few videos tonight, including this one. And depending on how this one goes, I may not get to any others because I'm trying to get these done and on top of watch my horror movie for the night. And then I gotta get ready for stuff tomorrow. I'm just going to say and apologize up front for if you see me rubbing my nose or anything. Here in North Texas, it was 90 something degrees yesterday, and we had a cold front come in. So now it's 60 something or 50 something degrees. So that's why I'm wearing a sweater, and my nose is running. It's messing. My allergies are just messing up. But anyway, so yeah. So let me just start off with the fact that this is my fifth take. So some of this I have said before. So if I rush through some of it, that's why. So yeah, so I started doing a horror movie every night in the month of October 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Um, and I try to do it. It's just something I love doing. I love horror movies. So yeah, so I'm gonna try to make this as spoiler free as possible. I'm not gonna go too in depth with these. So if there's one you haven't seen that you're seeing me about to do a review over, stop and you can go forward because, like I said, I'm not trying to make it spoiler free, but there's no guarantees. So yeah, so we're gonna start off with um, Freddy versus Jason. Um, I remember when that was a blockbuster, and if you don't know what blockbuster is, you are definitely too young to watch Freddy versus Jason, and you're too young to watch most of, if not all of these, except for maybe one or two of these. So yeah, so Freddy versus Jason. I mean, it's not. I love it. It's not like a masterpiece of a movie. I mean, it's putting two of the biggest icons, top five in my opinion, slasher icons against each other. So it's just carnage and mayhem. So yes, the only thing I have to say about that's bad is I wish they had made the sequel that they were planning to, that they hinted to at some point. Um, I know that we probably will never get that, seeing how Robert Englund will never again dress up as Freddy or portray Freddy. And the guy that played Freddy in the last installment or the revamp of A Nightmare on Elm Street, just nothing against him. Robert Englund's always gonna be Freddy Krueger. And the Nightmare on Elm Street, when they try revamping it, did terrible. I don't care what you say, it was not good. Um, so yeah, but I know they did a comic book that was supposed to be how the sequel was, putting Freddy against Jason, against Ash of Evil Dead. So if you own them or if you've ever even read them, leave in the comments if they're worth reading for everybody or just even me. I'm not big into comics, but I'm gonna try collecting horror comics. Just because I mean there's some days I just want to read. I don't want to watch a movie, and I kind of want something quick and easy, the horror like to feed the feeling I get for wanting that. So yeah, I actually have some coming in, and one is a big surprise that I can't wait to show. So yeah, so next we have Psycho. Um, these two are the ones that if you're younger and you don't know what Blockbuster is, you could probably watch these and get no problem. Um, so yeah, so Psycho, I've done the book review. Hold on a second here. I actually have it here. Let me do that. So yeah, so and I mentioned it in my book review, the only thing I will nitpick, and this is not necessarily a spoiler, I don't think, but in the movie, Anthony Perkins portrays Norman as, I mean, he looks like a guy that could live next door to you, whereas in the book, he's, nothing against this, but he's an overweight, if I remember correctly, just kind of odd person more than what you find out. Um, so yeah, so I mean, it's either good or bad depending on your take. I see both point of views from that. I don't know if it was intentional in the movie, but yeah. So next we have Misery, um, which is Stephen King. There'd be a bunch in here that are Stephen King related, Stephen King just because I have so many of his movies that it's easy just to watch Stephen King. I love his books, so I mean, but Misery, if you're If you're watching this just because you want to find a horror movie to like and you're trying to get an idea for what might be good, and you don't, some of these sound too far fetched for you, um, I'm gonna suggest Misery. Just because, and like I've mentioned before, my girlfriend does not do horror movies at all. Didn't do horror anything. Um, and I've explained most of these, if not half of these, to her, the concept and everything. And this is one she absolutely refuses to watch because this, what happens in this can happen in real life. It's it's a case of obsession gone cuckoo. Annie Bates in this is the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest. And again, I've never seen the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest. I plan on watching it. I've heard it's a great movie, but that's my analogy for that. If I get it wrong, I apologize. But yeah, Kathy Bates does an amazing job in this, and James Caan does an amazing job in this too. If you don't know who James Caan is, there's James Caan and Kathy Bates. He plays, if you ever watch Elf, he plays Buddy the Elf's dad, um, which I recommend Elf. I'll probably do December, November when I start watching holiday movies. So yeah. So next we have is one that I picked up and I had high hopes for and was not let down, but just eh. And that is The Raven with John Cusack. Again, Edgar Allan Poe related. Like I said, I had really high hopes for this, and it just kind of. I think when it comes to that concept of that idea, I think there's been a bunch of ideas for Edgar Allan Poe related stuff, and so you build it up in your head, and it just. I don't think there'll ever be a movie that lives up to that, and that's nothing against movies. I mean, it was a good movie. I just don't think it'll ever, in my head, when I build it up, I don't think it'll be near as grand as what I built it up to. And I'm just apologize if you hear noise in the background. It's one of my dogs doing something. So yeah. So next we have this, and this is a 6-pack of movies. There's gonna be a few in here that I've watched. So I watched Bag of Bones, and like I said before, I don't know if I said it on this channel, I belong to that 0.01% of Stephen King fans that like Bag of Bones. Honestly, and this is the best way I can explain why I like it in my defense. And it's the same for music. There's some music I just like, and there's some I don't. But then there's some music I just can't explain. I just get a feeling, and I like it. If that makes any sense. And Bag of Bones is that. I have yet to read the book, so I can't speak on the book, compare kind of thing. I like the movie, the miniseries. I just like it. Yeah, I think Pierce Brosnan. I mean, Pierce Brosnan is a great actor. I don't care what you say. So yeah. So next is Secret Window, which has Johnny Depp, and then the evil figure in it, I guess, is he plays. I've seen a few Adam Sandler movies. I don't know his name. I need to look it up, but he does a great job. I didn't know what to expect from him since I've only seen him in like comedy, like Anger Management, Don't Mess with the Zohan. I can't think of any others. I know he's in a couple others, but yeah, he does a great job in there. I was very happy with his portrayal of the character. So yeah, so next we have I don't necessarily count as horror, but it was in here. I just kind of threw it in just to watch it, and it's Stephen King, so I'm kind of just throw it in, and that's Sleepwalkers. If you're a Stephen King fan, I mean, I'm gonna recommend you watch it just so you can say you've watched it. Um, it's got cheesy special effects kind of thing, makeup and stuff, since it was like from the 80s. The high part of this movie was you have Stephen King, Clive Barker, and Toby Hooper, who helped create the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed, if I believe correctly, all in one scene in a time span of like 35 seconds. You see all three of those. All three of those people alone are worth watching that movie just for that scene in itself and what happens in the scene. It's kind of. But anyway, so yeah. So next we have, and this I put this one in the middle for a reason because this again I had the most gripes and complaints. And I'm gonna have to do a video on it by itself and go in more in depth, and that's Graveyard Shift. I will watch Sleepwalkers over Graveyard Shift any day. Graveyard Shift made no sense at all to me. And if you can explain what the movie, I mean, I know what the movie's about, but if you can explain in depth certain things, I'm trying to make this spoiler free, message me on here or something, please. So that way I can figure out, because I don't know. I didn't like the movie at all. The Foreman, like I said, I'm gonna have to do a video on that by that standalone, so I can go more in depth. So if you haven't seen it, you don't get stuff spoiled. So yeah. So moving on, we have House at the End of the Street with Jennifer Lawrence. I've heard many people say that they could predict what happens in here. First time I watched it, I couldn't. And I don't know, I couldn't. Maybe it's just me, but I really enjoyed this movie. Jennifer Lawrence does an amazing job as the same she did in Hunger Games, Silver Linings Playbook, which I really love that movie, and I've read the book. I love the book and the movie. But yeah, she doesn't. I like this movie, and I've only seen the unrated cut. I haven't seen the theatrical, but I really like this. If you want a really good movie with, how do I explain this without spoiling anything? If you want a really good movie that you won't see coming, the best way I'm gonna put it, that's as far as I'm gonna go. Watch House at the End of the Street. It's really good. At some point, I'll have to watch the unrated cut and then theatrical to see what the main difference is. I think there's a couple more minutes in the unrated cut. So yeah. So next is one that I didn't have high hopes going into because I've seen the first one and I loved it. I saw the second one. Second one was terrible in my opinion. It just, if I had to guess, I would have to guess they did it just to piss the people off that made the first one. And that is Leatherface, which is the third installment in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise overview, whatever. I didn't have high hopes going into this. When I first saw it, I watched it again, and it's don't have high expectations when you go into watching this, and it may not disappoint you, or it may not disappoint you as much. It just, I don't know. I think they really went off, and I've heard that the next generation is. I've seen it before. I didn't think it was. I thought it was. Then again, I was younger when I watched it. I'll have to watch it again at some point. But I think after the first one, and then when they did Texas Chainsaw, those two I think are the top. You have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you have Texas Chainsaw, and then after those you have like this Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the next generation, and yeah. Next, we have Rob Zombie's Halloween. I've seen this one many times. That's not to say it's good nor bad. Biggest problem I have with this is, and keep in mind, I've been a Halloween fan of this franchise since I was younger. Like I'm not even joking. I don't remember a time of not watching Halloween. Like I just grew up watching them. Especially Halloween H2O. I mean, I just grew up watching them, especially that one. So when Rob Zombie made this, I was excited to see it. Of course, I had to wait because I couldn't go watch in theaters. And part of me, people discredit this for good reason. But I mean, if you think about it, part of you wanted to know why Michael ended up being how he did, and Rob Zombie went into that. But the way Rob Zombie, which I appreciate, don't get me wrong, but the way Rob Zombie went about it, I think contradicted everything that Halloween had been building up. And that was, sorry if you hear that's the pipes. And that was the fact of, in Rob Zombies, when he's a kid, he, not a normal kid by any means, but he had a terrible upbringing and everything, and that's why he is why he is. But that doesn't explain the boogeyman aspect of how he can never die, and yeah, that's as far as I'm going to go into it. Next, we have two of them off of here that I watched this month. First was Friday the 13th Uncut. At this point, if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, or the first one, or don't know who the killer is, I don't know what rock you've been living under. I mean, it's just, but even there's a couple other movies that it tells you who the killer is. I mean, if you watch the newest Scream movie, it does. Um, but yeah, the first one was really good. Okay, I know I'm about to probably make some people mad. Friday the 13th Part 2, I think, is better than the first one. Not in the aspect of who done it, but especially compared to the other ones. Um, I just think it's, I don't, I like it. I think it's better just because it's not, I mean, you start going into like the one with like the mind thing, telepathic stuff or whatever. I don't, Jason by itself is hard to believe, but I can buy into it. But telepathic stuff, I can't. But the only thing I will say about the second part two, compared to every other one, part two, if you look, he looks like just a guy trying to kill people, like a slasher. Like he's not, he's indestructible, but he's not. I mean, if you watch the movie, you'll see scenes where he's falling over himself trying to get somebody, which I really appreciate watching this time through. I hadn't noticed it before, but it just kind of reminded me of like just like standalone slasher movies where the person goes to get somebody and just falls to the ground. And I don't know, I really like that over that. I think part three is when they started portraying him as like indestructible, he can't be killed. But I like the aspect of the second one of, okay, he seems to be like any slasher, you know, you stab him and everything, and it doesn't affect him, but he still makes mistakes. And that's just a little thing I picked up. You may not agree, but that's just my opinion. I really enjoyed it for that aspect of once I saw that and realized it, I don't know, I just kind of grew a bit more appreciative of the movie. Um, so yeah. And the last one on this is House of a Thousand Corpses. Um, hold on one second for the YouTube video so you can see. Um, so it's not seeing that, it's the thumbnail thing. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses. I really like this movie. The second one, I haven't watched fully all the way through just because there's one part that kind of I really didn't like. I mean, it's a Rob Zombie movie, so it's gonna happen, but I mean, it didn't like it. So I haven't seen the second one yet, The Devil's Rejects. I'm gonna watch it before Three from Hell comes out. But as far as House of a Thousand Corpses go, I really liked it. And as I've mentioned before, just to think, I'm a huge Office fan. I love The Office. This is the best show ever, in my opinion. It beats out Friends. Friends is second, of course. So all you Friends fans, don't be hating on me in the comments. I like Friends, but The Office is. I found that by myself, so I really like it more. But I say that to say, Rainn Wilson's in this, and I didn't like the fact that, and this is a spoiler, and I'm sorry if this is a spoiler. I'm gonna give you 3 seconds to skip over it. And end watching this. Go watch go watch this if you want. So I'm gonna give you about 3 seconds. I don't like how Rainn Wilson was killed in this. And I know it's stupid to say and how it should affect my opinion. I just don't like it. I mean, and of course this was before The Office came out and everything, but it just, in my opinion, when I saw it, and I've seen it before, every time I see it, I think, oh my gosh, he's killed Dwight Schrute. Dwight Schrute could not be killed because Dwight Schrute is a black belt, and you know all the off stuff go through my head. But yeah, I mean, as a horror movie, I liked it. I really liked it. It's a fresh take on some stuff. I'll compare it to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a fresh take on that, in my opinion. I think Rob Zombie was heavily influenced by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in this. I haven't read any articles about what he was influenced by on that, or I don't know. The only thing I have read an article on was why Dr. Satan wasn't in Devil's Rejects or anything after, because he was too cartoonish in Rob Zombie's opinion to make the last two movies seem more realistic. So yeah, so I mean, I liked it. Like I said, I think it's a fresh new take. Well, not fresh at the time. It was a fresh new take on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which, like I said before, I really like. And the second and the third and the new generation, those all kind of, I didn't like them. They kind of pissed me off, in my opinion. I think it was a terrible way to could try to continue a legacy that was started. Um, I think it tarnished it until Texas Chainsaw came out. I really like Texas Chainsaw. I have yet to see Leatherface, the new one that's connected to it. But yeah, so those are my movies that I've watched so far for the month of October. Um, like I said, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you like what you see here, go check out my other videos. I have one that's a Stephen King my book shelf review, which I just organized it so it's in publication date and everything. So yeah, if you like the channel, like what you see here, click subscribe. Let me know that you like the videos, and if you have any suggestions or anything you want me to do a review of or just talk about, leave it. It doesn't have to be book or movie related. I mean, I'll just do about anything. This is just kind of strictly book and movie related. And it doesn't even have to be like horror related either. I'm gonna do a review over a couple of books that aren't horror related actually. So yeah, so like I said, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you like what you see here, hit subscribe. Thank you.